Hey there, and welcome to the daily podcast where wisdom smacks us with kisses or love taps. I'm MichelleSpiva, a wisdom strengthening coach, your host, and practical priestess of wisdom. Mwah. Join us daily to gain wisdom and mental strength as we tackle innovative thinking, address emotional and behavioral life traps, and yes, provide you with some practical how to's to wrap it all up. So settle in or crank up the speed 2x, whatever gets your mental processes firing as we dive in. Stay tuned. Yay! Please don't tell me I'm going to have to look at that sad face for the rest of the day. Well, you'd be sad too if you got called into the office. But why does it always have to be something bad? They could be calling you in for something good. Oh, hey, this is Michelle Spiva, your practical priestess of wisdom, and I want to welcome you to today's podcast of Wisdom Smack. Settle down and join me as we get into a wisdom skills training day and talk about Futurecast, your outcome now. I'll see you on the flip. All right, the scenario from the A part was something that I remembered a while ago when, whatever the reason, whenever someone called me in for something unexpected or I had to go see someone of authority, I would always think of it as being something bad, like something ending my career or getting in trouble or something like that bad. And shout out to Beverly, wherever you are. I remember one of those times I felt like that, and she was like, "Why does it have to be something bad?" And just by her asking me those questions and talking to me at that time, she helped me to change the course of the direction that I tended to always fall into when surprises happened. And then a few years later, when I was working on continuing education credits for my therapy um, licensure, and back in the day, back in the way day, I started working on understanding and getting a working knowledge of dealing with shock and trauma. And during this time, I started to learn that there was a certain amount of shock with regards to the energy by which we came into being. And I know it might sound woo woo, but there is some qualitative research that has been done that shows that there are certain shocks that can be implanted in the womb, and because of the environment that we feel, whether it's a toxic womb or whether it's the shock of how the parents felt when they found out that you were going to be with them and the like. Now, that's not what this podcast is about today. Today, I'm actually going to be talking to you about how to start future casting in the now for the outcomes you want. And the reason why I brought up that situation on the A part and told you that experience is because I recently had opportunity to play the part of Beverly in someone else's life. And so, yay, me, I'm so excited. And it got me to thinking that this needs to be a life skills training, a wisdom strengthening training is what I really want to say. So that if this be you, when something unexpected happens, if you tend to always think that it's going to go bad, this one is going to help you. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to say is this, is that whenever things come out of the blue or we weren't expecting or couldn't foresee, I want you to get into the habit of not giving your power away to some capricious destiny outside of yourself. Now, yes, I do know things do happen, and sometimes there are things that are really totally out of your control. But I will say this, you can help mitigate those instances by getting in the habit of starting to employ a shroud of wisdom over the circumstance to turn it into your good. So, What we're going to do is from the get, part of future casting in the now is where you start to recommand, reestablish your power, your sovereignty, your will over something. And today we're going to be talking about the outcomes of things. So, with that being said, let's get on into it. All right. So, there is this saying that I have embraced, and I don't know if by the power of my embracing it, it has become so or not, but this one has bode me well for many years now. And that is no matter what it looks like, no matter the circumstance, no matter what the physical evidence looks like, you get what you expect and not what you desperately hope for. I'm going to say that one again. All right. And that is no matter what is going on, you get what you expect, not what you hope for. And the reason why I wanted to start this wisdom skills life training today is that people are not being aware of the power seepage that's leaving them because they are not shoring up, strengthening, fortifying, and clarifying their expectations. And I will say this. Think about if you can't seem to understand the power of what I'm saying when it comes to what you expect out of yourself and out of your situations. Think about it this way. What has been one of the most detrimental things that has happened in a relationship or in a promise for your expectation not to be met? That's what has been one of the most devastating things. There have been people who have broke off very lucrative deals, uh, very uh, good relationships, and not taken certain opportunities, all because the expectations were not met or the expectations were different from the other party. And so, you guys, expectations are very important and they are one of the main ingredients. Remember yesterday when we talked about your life's cookbook and the ingredients that you're going to need? So, yeah, this is going to be one of those situations where if you're looking at it from the standpoint of a cookbook, we're going to be assembling ingredients. And one of those main ingredients is going to be expectation. Now, hope is very powerful. It really is. So I do not want to negate hope because when you couple hope with your expectation, it supersizes it. Imbues it with more energy and more susceptibility to success. So you definitely still need to have hope. What I am talking about when I was talking about the previous little quote of you get what you expect and not what you desperately hope for is when you're trying to get hope externally to do all the work for you and you have no skin in the game. You have no emotive oomph to help push your agenda forward. You have no connection to your own power that gives you the power to do what you're supposed to in this realm. And so that is why I wanted to make sure that I clarified that and you understand that in starting to learn how to future cast your outcomes in the now, you will need to make sure that your expectations are strong, they are clear, that they are in line with what is best for you. And they are, I don't want to use the word realistic. What I want to use is they are obtainable. Okay. So, with that, the next thing that you're going to need for this recipe to future cast your outcome in the now is you're going to need to strengthen up your, I call it choice du jour, your choices. Okay. And I talked about this in a previous podcast as well. But you guys, come on, y'all know there are a lot of podcasts that we have talked about. And thank you for listening to me and checking in with me every day because this is podcast number 240 and I still have plenty to say. Okay, so with your choices, the fastest way for you to start to be able to command reality to fall in line, oh, yeah, because this future casting, that's what we're going to be doing, is to take a look at and to make deliberate choices in a succession to get what you want. Okay. So let me break this down into an exercise. Yep. We're being very practical about this wisdom training today because for future casting is for any and everyone any who is willing to do the work and willing to follow the recipe, okay? So, with the exercises, getting into the instructions of our recipe, okay? So, what you want to do is you want to start shoring up your ability to choose for the purpose of being able to turn things into your favor or turn your outcomes favorable for you. And you're going to do that by starting with increments of time. So, depending on how strong you are or how aware you are of the choices you make, I would say to start in increments of 10, 15, 20, 30, and then an hour. And with those increments in that time, I want you to spike your awareness of every choice you make, um, deliberate and subconscious. And I want you to, once you make that awareness, I want you to make note of what you chose, your unchecked habits that you chose, the triggers that brought about you doing that, and any kind of avoidance coping mechanisms. So for instance, when I do this and especially when I have to sit down and write or create and I've got a blank screen staring in front of me, I tend to make choices habitually that are avoidance. And because I know that that is a critical time for me, and I need to future cast my outcome now that I will finish this book, I will meet my deadlines and all of that kind of stuff. I do this exercise. So I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not doing. And so what you'll do is, even if you can't start with anything but 10 minutes, when you take that 10 minutes and you even set a timer on your clock or your phone and be deliberate about the choices you make in that 10 minutes, 15, 20, 30, or even an hour. And once you are aware of what's going on, then maybe the next increment of time, you purpose to make the choices that are going to get you the future cast outcome. And you'll be surprised at the wisdom that comes to you by first doing an observation of what you are doing, and then the next go round, doing the changed behavior because now you are hyper aware of your choices. And I've mentioned this in another podcast. I didn't tell you exactly how to do the exercise, but now what I do is I have a magic 3 hours during my day, where in that 3 hours, I try desperately to be hyper aware and in tune with the choices that I make, because in those 3 hours are predict what will happen for me in the future and along with the outcomes that I want to have. And you think about this. If you do, if you work up to your magic 3 hours of being hyper vigilant to make the choices in line with the outcomes you want to have, that is some very powerful forecasting, future casting, and manifesting. People want to always know, well, how do I manifest this in my life? How do I track that? And I'm telling you, you start by being and doing the person who is expecting things in line with what they want. They are buffering that expectation with hope. And then they are making choices. Choice du jour, choices of the day. They are making choices that line up with that. Okay. And so once you have done that, and let me just make this real clear about the choices exercise. So say for instance, you're really trying to take this seriously, but you don't have a lot of time. And so what you can do is you can say, okay, for the next 5 days, I am going to take this hour and the first 10 minutes, I'm going to be aware of the choices. I'll make notes of them. And then after I've made the notes and observed myself, then I will give myself 20 minutes or 30 minutes where I focus, make myself highly aware of, and make the choices that will help me get to what I want. And if you just start to do that in 5-day increments, maybe increasing, you'll get to the point where over some time, you will get to your magic 3-hour choice du jour of your choices that you take. A lot of times when people ask me, how do you get your podcast done every day with a different topic and not rehashing the old? I tell them, choice du jour helps me. I make the choices. I expect to have something worthy to share with you. And guess what? Because I do those things with the hope and I do the choices, I futurecast when I start that the outcome is going to be a quality sharing of the best wisdom I have at that time to share with you that makes the most sense that I can possibly do in the 30 minutes that we have together. And so, as you can see, it works. All right. Like I said, this is about me being your practical priestess, serving you, ministering to you the wisdom and the mental strengthening so that you can be the best that you can be. Okay. All right. So we're not finished. We're not finished with this future casting your outcomes in the now. So once you have done these choices, the next thing is you'll now be better able and in a better position to construct in your now uh whatever it is that you want in your outcomes. Okay. And I like to say that whenever you think about it, whenever it crosses your mind, that's a good time for you to be constructing and future casting right then and there because you'll find that the wisdom of the way you think and triggers around you will start to work with you to make it where you're able to take advantage of the best things possible to put you in a great outcome. It is amazing what can happen in a day, a year, 5 years, a decade when you do these types of things. So do not uh, think that I have to just do it at this one time. You're going to find that many times during the day, you'll have a thought where, that would be nice. And at that particular time, that's when you can start to construct. And you do it by making sure your expectation is tight and right, making sure you put some hope on that thing, and making sure that you make the right choices at that time. And I'll tell you, sometimes your choices at that time are not going to look like you expect. Your choices at that time might be that you place a phone call or you go and gather some information or you request something. And so it's not all about just one type of thing. The choices that you make are going to sometimes baffle you. But in hindsight 2020, you'll know that your conscious and your subconscious were all working together to construct what it is that you need for the outcome that you want. And so now with this construction, that you're going to do whenever you think about it, I do have some practical things, just like the exercise for the choices. Let me give you some things that you can do to start constructing this future casting right in the now when you're wanting to do it or when it appeals to you to do it. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to do a body scan check. And I use this in therapy for people to start bringing all of their senses and themselves back into a centralized point within their physical self. And to do this, when you do this body scan check from your head to your toe, I want you to check in to see if you have any sensations of pain, any hindrances to your breathing, any sensations of being too cold or too hot, any tightnesses, any awarenesses of external breezes or anything like that. And by you starting to do that, and it should take you less than a minute to do this. And by starting to do that, you're starting to collect yourself back into a centralized point to concentrate your energy where you are. And so once you have done that, and for some people, they might be like, I feel some tightness in my ankles. Move them around. If you're sitting in a weird position or standing and it's causing you stress, take care of it so that you can get to a point where there is nothing that is going to take you away from or drain your energy or attention and focus from what you're going to be doing in this construction phase. So the next thing after you've done that, it's time to start moving over the bridge from uh, where you are just in regular everyday life to this focused attention to futurecast. And you're going to do that by now, listen to this because it's easy, but I don't want your mind trying to figure out, well, what has this got to do with anything? Because trust me, it works. Okay. Or trust yourself, it works. So the next thing is, after you've done your body scan, everything is cool, you're comfortable, you're all right, and you have time and you don't feel like somebody is going to be watching you or walking in on you or all that kind of stuff. I want you to start to contract, like tighten up, seize everything up real, real tight, 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 and then relax it. And I want you to do that rotation where you contract everything as tight as you can. I want you to do this contraction for 5 counts and then release for 5 counts. And if you can, I want you to do that for 6 rotations. And that will be a minute because the contraction and relaxation should take you about 10 seconds. And if you do 6 of those, you'll have it done in a minute. And what you'll do is once you feel and the contraction and then the relaxation, by the time, usually for most people, by the time we're around the fourth or the fifth one, they start becoming hyper aware of everything about them. And that's exactly what you want. Because remember, this is all about starting to get every part of you activated to help you futurecast and turn things into positives for you. Okay. So now that we've done the contraction, what I want you to do is I want you to take everything you have in you and infuse it. Imagine there is a ball of concentrated electricity, fire, light, whatever you need to pretend, imagine, or visualize. That ball of energy is there, and what you're going to do is just simply a focal point. You're going to infuse as much profound gratitude as you possibly can that this ball is here and ready to do your bidding. Okay. So let me repeat it to where we are such so far, because we've got one more step after this. All right. So when we want to construct and a future cast for the outcomes that we want in the now, first thing you're going to do is that body scan to make sure everything is cool, make sure that you're in a safe place, you don't feel threatened, you don't feel vulnerable, exposed, any of that kind of stuff. And then you're going to do the contract and relax. And if you can, do it up to a minute where you're doing 6 cycles of the contract and relax, 5 counts each. And then after that, when you do that last relax, I want you to pretend, visualize, imagine, or just tell yourself that there is a ball of energy, light, fire, or whatever. And it is either in your hands in front of you or somewhere in the torso area of your body that you can control. This ball of energy is here to do your bidding. It is here to serve you. And what I want you to do is once you can pretend, visualize, imagine, or just make the statement that I have this ball of great energy and power, effect, fire, light, electricity, whatever you want to call it, I want you to power pack it with all of the gratitude, the profound, groundbreaking, earth shattering gratitude that you can put into it. And this gratitude can be, you can be um, thanking yourself, your environment, your deities of choice, or whatever. Just thanking the fact that you're able to do this, thanking the ball of energy, and put that gratitude into that ball. And once you have it just stuff to where it almost vibrates and bulges because it's so power packed with gratitude. Listen to this part because this is the last part. I want you to pick some type of audacious goal that you want as your outcome, or some type of audacious goal that you can achieve toward your outcome. Or get this, some type of audacious situation that is going to happen on behalf of you that will get you to your goal. All right. And once you've done that, I want you to then release that ball of energy to go not outward, not upward, but all around you. Just imagine it as this big old force field that's going all around you and push it out as far as you can visualize. I've had sometimes where I've pushed this ball out to the point where I can't see it anymore. And everywhere I go, everything I do, I am encapsulated with this ball of gratitude, and it is infused with it, and it has a goal, it has a purpose, or it has a point that it is to make if a situation happens, if there's something I need to do, or if the universe has to line up to make certain things happen for me to get the outcome that I want. All right. Now, here's the thing. I want you to possibly start small because it doesn't make sense for you to try to go big and it fail because it does take some focus and concentration to do this. Now, I'll tell you, the span of this future cast, depending on how good you get with it, you could do a future cast in a couple of minutes. Yeah, you can just go into a bathroom stall if you're in work and have it done. Or sometimes if you're so used to getting into the state you need, you might be able to just do one contract and release, and that will trigger the power of the future cast. And so what I want you to do is start small and consider doing something that's actually within your wheelhouse of skills and that you can have achieved and the outcome can be recognized or claimed or produced within an hour. So like for instance, starting out small, if it was something like, me trying to future cast something, what I would do is I have a book that's due, and I would say something like, or not say something, but I would put it in my intention to future cast that in an hour from now, an hour, I give myself an hour and 15 minutes to get myself right to do my future cast. In an hour and 15 minutes from now, I will have 3,600 minimum words completed on my manuscript. And the reason why I would do something like that is because when I'm lackadaisical and just, typing in my vibe, I take time to stop and start. And that puts me at an average of 35 words per minute when I'm creating. But when I am sprinting and I am wanting to do my train of thought, system one, trusting mind kind of sprint work, where it's just get the words on the page, I'm usually at 45 plus words per minute. Now, if you take 45 words per minute times 60, then that's where you're going to get the 3,600 words or so. And I hope I hope my math. Nope, my math is not right. Is my math right? No, I don't think it is. Let's see here. No, it's not. But I'll just say that 45 words per minute in an hour would be 2,700. Okay, I said 36 because I'm used to doing 36. So I type faster than that. So don't worry about the bad math. That would be 2,700 words. But you get the point. So what I want you notice what I'm doing is I'm trying to pick something that's within my wheelhouse, but that pushes me a bit, and that can be achieved in an hour. And you only need to do one of these to get yourself going because once you get that, what we would call a small win, or would call it a forward action to get a quick victory, you'll notice that your state of mind and being is more conducive and fertile for more of your future casting to get outcomes. And there'll be days where it'll just be future cast after future cast. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get all this done. If anybody had told me that this morning I would have this done at the end of the day, I wouldn't be able to believe it. You guys, I have done future casting. It's so practical for so many things. I have done future casting to move myself out of an office where I had large furniture, no help, and only a car. I mean, I have used future casting to tackle things that normally overwhelm me, that I dread and desire and just turn away from and cause me to get anxious, and it works. And so I just need you to believe it and try it. So in our last moment or so that we have, because my time is basically up, what I want to do is I want you to start working on this wisdom skill, because no more do you have to give your power away when unexpected things happen, or when you are hoping for some entity to come and save you. Now, when I say some entity, I'm not slamming our religions or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying stop giving your power away, because a lot of the stuff that you're asking for help for is already in your power to do. So here we go. I want you to start being able to future cast your outcomes in the now. You're going to do that by first and foremost understanding that what you expect is what you get, and buffering that understanding with hope. Then I want you to get into the habit and practice of exercising choices at the moment, and do your exercises to make good choices that will line up with what your outcomes are. Once you start doing that and you've completed one, then move into the actual construction of your future cast for your outcome. And you can do that by starting to do the four parts that we talked about. Scan your body to make sure you're okay. Then I want you to contract and release. Do that about 6 times to make up a minute. Then I want you to pretend, imagine, visualize, or just say that there is a ball of energy. Infuse that ball with gratitude, and then pick some type of goal that can be done or manifested within an hour, and infuse that ball, push it out, and get to work. All right. And so, with that being said, guess what, y'all? My time is up. I thank you for yours. This has been Michelle Spiva, your practical priestess of wisdom. I'll see you tomorrow. And that's going to do it for today's podcast of Wisdom Smack with Michelle Spiva. If you like this podcast, please help us get the word out. Like, comment, subscribe, and even share. And if you really like it, please help us continue to get the word out by considering using this show's link for Amazon. So when you want to go to Amazon and you do all of your general shopping, please use MichelleSpiva.com/AMZ. It's simple as that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and this show might receive a little bit of commission that will go towards helping to further get these episodes out to you and to others. So thank you so much for listening. This has been Michelle Spiva with Wisdom Smack. Bye.